All right. Happy Friday, everybody. So good morning, morning. I got your message, Barb. I was like, well, I'm listening to music on my side, but apparently you guys weren't listening to the music. So happy Friday, everybody. I'm really excited about our guest speaker today. Thanks so much for hopping on. As you guys may or may not know, back during the October, November of last year, I decided to start this YouTube channel, Klear channel. I've come into understanding my purpose, and my purpose is to help change the world one leader at a time. I know in the business that I'm in and the people I surround myself with, and ultimately the people I put in front of you guys, we're going to be able to do that. And today's guest speaker is, in my opinion, going to be probably the best we've had on our Klear channel. So I'm going to pin our videos, Barb, if that's cool with you, so everyone can see us. And pin, and it's gonna be you and I. But first of all, Barb, thank you so much for getting on this morning, getting a chance to chat with our team and our organization, people that are inside and outside of our business. First, do you mind just sharing? We're gonna jump right in if that's cool.
Yeah, let's do this. Hi, everybody.
So do you mind sharing a little bit, just where are you from? Where'd you grow up? A little bit about family, and then we'll jump into some questions that I think the guys would enjoy hearing about.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, this is my favorite group of people to talk to because where I am today is all predicated on what I did in my 20s by doing sales, being in a commission-based, opportunity-based business. I'm able to do things today that a lot of people don't have access to. And it's the skills that I cultivated by doing what you guys are doing that lands me on the Today Show. And I'll bring it all full circle as we talk. But to answer your question, so I'm really grateful to be here. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to connect with you. You are my favorite audience, hands down, no question about it. So to answer your question, I was raised in Princeton, New Jersey. I am a twin. I have a twin brother and I have younger twin brothers. So I'm actually one of two sets of twins in a generation that was kind of unique. It does run in the family. My mother, or as we say in Jersey, my mother is a triplet. So it runs in the family. And I'm back in Jersey. I just bought a beach house at the Jersey Shore. I bought my third piece of real estate this year I'm really excited to talk about because it was a dream that I set forth early in life, and it's all come to fruition. It's all manifested, and I'm grateful for the journey. So so I am awesome. Barbara in New Jersey.
Awesome. And Barb, so you mentioned, so you started off in direct sales in your 20s. You're on the on-air TV personality on the Today Show now. Fill the in between. Like, you go from here to here. Like, how does that happen?
So I'll say this. Yeah. So now I do television. I do lifestyle entertainment on some of your favorite programs, or at least your parents' favorite programs. The Today Show, mark your calendar, September 22nd. I'll be on NBC, which is a national program, Hoda and Jenna. And I absolutely love it. It's a dream job. And it's a career that I actually launched in my 40s. Although I'm going to lie to you all throughout this and tell you I'm still in my 20s because I feel it. So, but I will share this. Everything I do today really does predicate from my years in the field, and I'm really grateful for it. So not only I'll make this all make sense. Not only do twins run in my family, but a condition known as Fragile X also runs in the Schwartz genealogy. And raise your hand if you've heard of Fragile X. No? Okay. I think I can only see one screen. Or Down syndrome. Have you heard of Down syndrome? Raise your hand. Okay. So Fragile X is just like Down syndrome. It's a genetically inherited form of neurological impairment. And my brother, Steven, so I'm a twin with Ben, and Michael and Steven are the younger set. Steven inherited the chromosomal disorder, Fragile X. So he always, will struggle. He relies on everybody else to take care of him. And I made a vow at a very young age that I would always take care of him. And this vow was really solidified in my teens when my family hit some rough times. And we were, all four of us were separated across the United States. And my parents lost their house, they lost their cars, they lost everything. So we all had to be scattered to live with relatives. So my dad took some of us out to California to live with his brother, and my mother stayed in New Jersey to live with her cousin. And throughout the year and a half that we all had to be kind of moved around, the four of us got kind of shifted. Like first it would be all four of us in California, then three of us, then one of us, and we all just kind of moved around. But the configuration is I was never separated from my special needs brother, Steven. In whatever form or fashion, Steven and I always stayed together. And at the end of, so it's the end of my 8th grade year, I was about ready to go into high school in California. And I said to my dad, I really want to start high school in New Jersey. I'm a Jersey girl. I don't love California. And I said, I'm taking Steven with me. And he said, I understand. So I'm going to go back east and I'm going to live with mom for a little bit. And we're at LAX airport, and Steven wants nothing to do with going back to New Jersey. Nothing. He's throwing a fit. Yeah, it's a crime scene. And when they do the movie on my life, this is going to be a really big scene because we can't get through the terminal. He's like melting down and the whole 9 yards. We get to the gate, and this is back 150 years ago when you could actually go to the gate with your family. And we're at the gate, and we're all there. My aunt is yelling at my father, like, look what you, it was crazy. And all of a sudden, Steven throws himself like starfish, like on the floor, like he's just done. Like, I don't even know, like he's stuck to the ground and he won't get up. And they're bored. We're the last people. The stewardess is like, flight attendant was like, we're going to leave without you. You either get on the plane or don't get on the plane. And my father looks at me, says, Barbara, I'm going to take Steven. He'll stay with me. Don't worry about it. You got to get on this plane. High school has already started. My 9th grade year was already underway. And I said, Dad, Steven goes with me. And my dad's like, no, I'm actually the parent and Steven stays with me. And I'm like, well, no, Steven goes with me. And I'm 14 years old telling my father where his children should go. And I get on the floor and I say to Steven, I can't leave without you. I can't. I want you to come with me. And Steven got off the floor, and by the grace of God follows me onto the plane. I don't know, grabs my hand. I wave to my dad like this. I don't even look back. Got my little Ray-Bans on, and I'm like crying underneath because I have to say goodbye to my father. And I got on that plane, and you guys have all gone through this where you're filled with so much like rage and emotion and clarity and all the feels, right? Like we've all been there of like, like I was like, and Steven, by the way, just passed out. He was like, I was like, really? Like you just literally tortured me for the last 4 hours, passes out. But I'm like, and it's a red-eye flight, leave at night, show up in the morning. I plotted my life at 14 years old. And I know every single person that's listening to this, you've plotted your life at some point. You made a vow. You said, this is who I'm going to be and what I'm going to do. And you had clarity at some point, and you knew who you were, and you knew what you were destined to do on this earth in this lifetime. I plotted my life. I said, I'm going to be so damn rich. He will never have to worry about anything. I'll never let Steven down. I'll always take care of him. And I was like, he'll never be institutionalized. He'll have full-time help. I was like, so stinking rage, like rage clarity, like shake your head if you're like rage clarity makes sense. I just made that up, but like rage clarity, it's a thing. I'm going to hashtag that rage clarity, Barbara Majeski. So I'll wrap up this story with my rage clarity. I saw my life at that point. I was going to be wealthy so that he would never have to be in this situation again. He would never be institutionalized. So with that vow that I'd always made, that moved me into this field, productivity-based compensation. Like I could not. So when I put myself through college, and I ultimately got out into the workforce. And then Ken, I'll stop talking because we only have like 20 minutes together. And I'm like, oh, I have so many stories. I'm going to bring this full circle. I got out into the workforce and I kept getting job offers. And they were like, if you at the end of the year, you'll get a raise and you'll get 2 weeks paid vacation. You'll get all the benefits and all the hoo-ha. And I was like, no, I need to be really effing wealthy. I need to kill it. And I can't be paid a salary. Like, what if I do really well? Will you give me a little extra, sauce? Like how does this work? And, all of them were like, well, you'll get bonuses based on the overall productivity of the office, but you'll get paid vacations 2 weeks a year. I was like, screw the vacations. I want to outwork all you. I want to outwork all you. I needed to be in a I needed to be in an opportunity lane. Like I was like, I'm going to outwork everyone. And I needed to be in a lane of opportunity, a lane of upward mobility, unlimited earning potential, autonomy. I needed to be in that space. And I actually found it in sales. Although everyone at the time, God, and I have so many stories because, I trained Brandy Park. And, I know Ken Lear from the day. I know all these, John Wiggins, I was his first outside female promotion. Like I knew John when he was 24 years old, although we're only like 25 now. Remember, so that's what led me to this business. I'm like, I will talk as much like all about what I learned and how I was able to parlay that into launching a career in television. But Ken, I'll let you ask questions because I could talk all day long.
Yeah, no, this is great. And in learning sales, right? Obviously you're on TV now. You've told me some stories about some of the producers and being on air and how you handle, things that don't go your way. Can you share how maybe one of those skills translates to what you're doing now?
Oh, 100%. Hi, Christina England. I actually know somebody on here. I wonder if I know anyone else. What I ended up doing was I was part of this startup and everybody told me I was crazy, but I did see the potential. I was like, all of this makes sense. But I was part of this startup where we had to prove to AT&T that outsourcing it to us was better than internalizing a team. I saw the vision, but man, was it like we were a hot mess express in the day. Wild, wild west. Now everyone's like, oh, I wish I started when, if I could start anytime, it would actually be right now because there's so much more demand for people to learn the fundamentals of the field and then take it into a management capacity. There's nothing like what you're doing right now. You're in the right place at the right time. Yes, I have great stories, but we had such massive, it was so bad. It was the wild, wild west. I can't tell you the stories that went down. One is they were like, go to Philadelphia. They're deregulating energy. And then we all moved up to Philadelphia from Atlanta and the client pulled out. And I just moved. We just moved. We had no, and John was like, okay, go to Baltimore. So we went from Philly to Baltimore. It was a mess. So many stories like that. Yes, it was crazy. I really do have fun stories, but nowhere I'd rather be. And what I love so much about the field and what I learned is that these are skills that you can't learn in a classroom. You're not going to buy it at Walmart. It's not going to go on sale. Learning how to stand tall in the face of adversity. Learn how to think on your feet. One of my best things is that I have 2 ears, 1 mouth, and I listen twice as much as I speak. And that gift you only learn from the field of sales because the only way you're closing a customer is not by your jazzy dress or your cool shoes or your fancy pen, because you listen to what your customer says and you learn how to read an audience, right? You actually know what they're going to say and you sit there and you listen and you're able to actually come back because you realize oh, I know what they need to understand why this is in their best interest because I listened, I asked questions. So now and then you learn in the field, you also learned you don't control what happens to you, right? You can't control the customer. You can't control when somebody's nice to you or mean to you or the weather or, the pandemic. You can't control any of that, right? You learn that in the field, right? You didn't learn that if you learn that in college, mazel tov to your school. Yes, I'm Jewish. But you learn in the field that you only control how you handle what happens to you, right? You learn I can only control my attitude and my work ethic. That's it. That's all I got. Everything else is out of my control. And when you learn that skill of resilience, tenacity, perseverance, those are muscles, by the way, kids, you guys, we're all kids, people, friends, all the things. That muscle of resilience and intestinal fortitude, it's a muscle. It's something that needs to be built. It's not something that you can be gifted. It is actually something you need to develop. And the only way you ever develop a muscle, right, is you have to break it down in order to build it back up. You don't just have muscles. You're not just automatically like the Hulk. You have to actually go and overextend yourself. You have to break your muscles down physiologically, like the muscle fiber breaks down, and then when it builds back up, it's stronger. That's the muscle of resilience, persistence, tenacity, intestinal fortitude. Those muscles you need for a lifetime. And the only way you cultivate those muscles is through adversity. And that's why I love the field. And that's why I love sales, because you have to be able to deal with the good days just as much as you deal with the bad days. And all those people that are out there over this next week that are going to rip your head off and tell you to take a long walk off a short pier, I actually put them out in the field for you. I put them there. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, fine. Because I want you to be great. I want you to have great muscles of resilience and persistence. I don't want you to be weak. I'm a coach. I want to train you to be really, really resilient, because those muscles are going to take you far past anything you do professionally and carry you through your personal life and throughout your lifetime. And without that, life is going to kick you something senseless, and you're going to have no muscle to pull yourself up out of the fetal position and get your ass back out on your feet. I got diagnosed in 2015 with stage 3 cancer. My kids were 3 minutes old. They were nothing. I had like babies. I had 2 kids that still believed in the tooth fairy and Santa Claus. My daughter wasn't even in a grade in school. She was in preschool. My boys were young, and I just sit them down and be like, listen, I've got cancer, and it's not a good one, and it's a late stage, but your mother's got this. And I knew I couldn't control that diagnosis, but I could control how I handled it. And more importantly, as a leader in my family, as the mother of the mothership, I knew that my kids were watching me. More so my 2 boys. My daughter was too young, but they knew, and I knew my attitude was all I had in control of. And I was like, I got this. Oh, I have so many stories of like how my kids full circle that whole thing that is so like powerful. And that's why I love talking to you guys, because I'm like, I don't know that I understood when I was in the field, you know, working on straight commission, working 12, 14 hours days, 6 days a week. Everyone's at happy hour on Fridays, and I'm sitting there like getting my ass chewed by some clown in a gas station, and my shoes are like got a hole in it, and I'm just wishing none of my friends see me out in the field going door to door. You know, I'm like battling like, and I'm making no money. Was making, you know, crap at the time, but I was investing in myself. But I didn't realize at that time I was building something that would carry me through some of the most difficult things that I've gone in this lifetime. And I was able to model that to my kids. And let me tell you something, that's where I get compensated more than anything I've earned fiscally, is that I am compensated with skills to get my team. And now my squad is my people that I made, that I birthed. And, you know, there was just, I'll share, and I could talk so much. Oh my God, I had 2 cups of coffees. So I just want to share this one thing, is that when my kids were struggling with my diagnosis, as you can imagine, you know, my boys are mama's boys. My daughter's a mama's girl. So I got my people loving on me. And my oldest son had a meltdown. He just didn't want to go to school anymore. And I was like, he's like that cool kid in school. I'm like, you actually are in 6th grade and you're cute and the chicks dig you. I'm like, you're kind of killing it in middle school, because I had a unibrow and I was not that, you know, I didn't have it going on. I had a great personality. Okay. I was that girl that was like Miss Congeniality, but I've jazzed up the brows since then. Okay. We digress. So I sit him down. I'm like, Gabe, why don't you want to go to school? Like, why would he goes, Mom, I just want to stay home with you and make sure you're okay. And I was like, oh my God. I said, okay, let's take a beat. I said, listen, and I listed all these moms in Princeton that had gone through cancer. And I said, are any of these mothers as strong as your mother? I go, your mother ran the New York City Marathon just because I wanted to see if I could do it. Your mother ran a business in her 20s. And launched and scaled sales teams across the United States in her 20s, retired at 30. I was awarded a humanitarian award as a stay-at-home mom at one of the most, right? Were you there, Ken? Or you've been part of?
I was there. Yeah. At the event in New York. Yeah.
Yeah. So in that moment, I'm cycling.
Operation Smile.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm cycling through all my power highlights. And I'm like, there's no mother like your mother. I'm the strongest mother in this town. And if those women can survive cancer, so can I. Fast forward. So I'm like sweating, because I'm like, this is like my like, he's having a, you know, breakdown in the field. Like, wait, he's having a field breakdown. Literally, we're in the field of life, but it's the field of life, not the field of sales. Field of life. He's having a total neg fest, and I have to pull him out of the trenches. Right. You guys know what I'm talking about. A year later, we're moving into another school. because we're moving him into a private school, and the counselor's interviewing him. And he's like, how did you deal with your mother's cancer? We understand that was a tough year on the family. He looks at the counselor and he goes, my mother's the strongest mother in Princeton. I was like, and the counselor side eyes me, and I'm like, but it's the power of how you conduct yourself and the power of your words. You have to be a person of your word. You learn how to be a person of your word, especially in like leadership. Like you can't just say, do this and then go do something else. You have to be a person of your word. So, just knowing that through my life experience, my business experience, my field experience, I parlayed that into my parenting, and it's paid itself in spades. I've never seen a side eye like this. They were like, what you talking about? I was like, yeah, don't you know me? I'm like I'm the strongest mother in Princeton. Mind you, I'm like 5'0" nugget. And I don't think wow, she's a powerhouse. You're like, wow, she's little. So anyway, that's my story of why I'm so passionate about what you learn in the field, and that you can't always see it on a day-to-day. The muscles that you are building, you just cannot get anywhere else. I'm sorry, you cannot get it anywhere else. Maybe if you play professional sports, I might give it that. And Ken knows I love everything sports related. So, okay, I'm done.
Yes, you do. So, Barb, I'll tell you, I got to give you credit. When I was a young person in business in my early 20s, I went to a leadership conference and heard you speak about putting on the jersey and the pride of the Yankees and, being a college athlete. And, I remember walking away from that conference just feeling so empowered about my potential. And, I appreciate that about you a ton.
Thank you.
That was really a game changer for my own beliefs. And, I talk a lot, and I've been on some of your, master's classes and different calls that you do. And I talk a lot about how important the conversation you have with yourself is, and how important it is to build your own confidence and say things yourself that serve you. Any thoughts around that?
Yeah. What we think is what we become. Your thoughts become things. And the truth is, we have all been in certain environments with negative self-talk or negative projections, and we bring it into our own. And one of the greatest quotes that I hope you guys will like, and I wish you guys all had notebooks. I see, if you have a notebook, I need you to write this down. The subconscious mind has no sense of humor. And the reason I share this in this context is because what you say to yourself, how you talk to yourself, how people talk to you, around you, is absorbed into the subconscious mind. And it starts, your actions, even when you're not consciously thinking of it, start moving in that path, whether it's negative or positive. Is incumbent upon you to know, to put yourself in the right mindset. So, making sure that changing that self-talk is so powerful, and understanding that, you're like, if thoughts become things, that conversation you have with yourself is the most important conversation you have every single day. And what you appreciates. So write that down. What you appreciates. And the reason why I say this is, whenever I'm asked if I could go back and give advice to my 20-year-old self, that is the one thing that I would say to myself. I'm still in my 20s. I would say you need to find gratitude in everything that you have, because abundance mindset and abundance, like you were like living in an abundance mindset, is so damn powerful. And it starts in a space of understanding. If you guys can just take pause, and comparison is the thief of joy. So you're done with that. Swipe left on that. It's not needed. But it is so powerful when all of a sudden you appreciate, my car starts today. I love my car. Oh my God, this is an amazing car. I love having cars. Do I want to have a Ferrari? Maybe, I don't know, whatever your dreamscape is. But at the end of the day, when I tell you these two things, what you appreciates, and the subconscious mind has no sense of humor. So when you are appreciating things and you're living in an abundance mindset, it magnifies tenfold as you move through your life, because appreciation, gratitude is a higher frequency. It's a higher vibration frequency, and you bring in higher, like there's a whole frequency involved in that lane. And I think in my 20s, I was so focused on what I didn't have. And, you know, oh, I was just pining for all the things and all the freedoms and all that. So I think I almost inhibited some of my ability to like really, you know, manifest great wealth and great opportunity. I didn't inhibit it enough because obviously I've manifested it, but I think it slowed down. I know it slowed down my path. So these things, and if anybody is interested in my masterclass, go to my Instagram and DM me masterclass. And I am going to be hosting another free masterclass in the next month or so. And you guys can be a part of it. Because I love talking about things like that. But yeah, and I do start that whole class with your mindset. You don't have the right mindset, man, you are slowing down your bus. And I want to say this because I'm down to like 3 minutes and I could talk all day long.
And we have a few extra minutes if you
okay,
do.
I can keep going.
Yeah.
And answer questions and do all the things. I will say, I forget what I was going to say. Oh, I know what I was going to say. It wasn't until I was confronted with my own mortality before I really stepped into my true power. And the truth is, even though I told my kids that I was going to be great, I did struggle through my chemo. And I was bumping up against my 9th infusion at a 12. And I was like, I don't have this. I'm like, I don't have this at all. I found myself sick as a dog, skinny as I'd ever been, unable to keep food down, hot mess. And I was bumping up against another infusion. And the thing with chemo is that you get a little better once after your infusion, you get to the next one and you usually show up like, okay, knock me down again. I was not getting back. I wasn't recalibrating. And I took stock of my life. And I was like, if you just give me one more shot. And this is what I really need to share to bring a lot of this full circle. Was in that moment of like, I think this is where my story ends. I was 42 years old, 3 young kids, and my story was about ready to close. That was the chapters were written and there were going to be no more damn chapters. So I started reflecting on what I was most proud of, putting myself through college, launching the sales teams and scaling them across the United States, taking over as my brother's legal guardian, getting a humanitarian award. Well, in that space, I thought, oh my God, I wanted to quit everything that I was doing. I always wanted to quit. It was too hard. And putting myself through college sucked. And you know what? The field to me was like brutal. I didn't have that appreciation. What appreciates. I was like, this is hard. And I wanted to quit everything. And I always thought if I quit, I can't take care of Steven. And if I can't take care of Steven, I won't be able to live with myself because he'll be institutionalized. But it was in that moment, in that space, that I saw it. I was like, oh my God, this whole time, I thought I was taking care of Steven. And it was really Steven taking care of me. See, Steven gave me rise to the greatest gift you can be given, and that's the gift of purpose. The gift of no backdoor, no quit, no what, figure it out. Barbara, figure it out, was always hinging on my vow to take care of Steven that I set forth when I was 14 years old. And when you're aligned with great purpose, you can get out of your own way really fast. And it was in that moment that I was like, all right, universe, give me another shot. And I will never play small again. I will never let the voices of fear, self-doubt, or the weight of other people's opinions dictate how I'm going to move. And when I made that vow and I got to the end of my treatments and recovered, I was like, all right, Babs, you made a big, bold statement and you're a woman of your word. You're a woman of your word. What are you going to do? And I was like, I'm going big. I'm going on the Today Show. It's a girl who's never done TV. Sold my wedding ring, hired a media trainer, and this month you'll see me on another segment on TV. And it's all to amplify my profile so I can always use my voice to speak not only for my brother Steven, but all the Stevens of the world, and also help others get out of their own way and realize that we're all people of great purpose. You are all of massive potential and great purpose, but so many of us are stuck in our own way and can't get the hell out of our own way. It's time to get out of your own way, live your best life, and never wait till you're confronted with your own mortality before you step into your power.